Cube World. A beautiful game filled to the brim with nostalgic feels, from monsters to exploration and amazing visuals. Just thinking about it makes me miss it. Almost 2 years ago now, I made a video about Wally, the creator of Cube World, finally tweeting out some changes to the game he was actually working on at the time. Back then it seemed like we would see some awesome new updates, and hopefully many he didn't yet mention. We hoped this update would come soon. After that, Wally said nothing anywhere for 2 years. Complete radio silence, and our hopes withered away. Three months ago, that changed, and Wally has been back with amazing music and tons of new updates about Cube World, his genius plans, factions, exploration updates, and more, and it's finally time to tell you about them. To give you the rundown of what's been going on, for the last 3 months, Wally has basically been updating his Twitter with new ideas, new updates, screenshots, information, and it's been happening every few days. So he's been making this really strong, good progress. The big question really for me is this progress that he's been making over the last 3 months, or is this 2 years of work that he's been doing himself, by himself? And he's finally telling us about it now as it's all coming to a head. I pray that's the case, because that means it's more likely these updates will come into the game, we'll be able to play them, than compared to him releasing information as he does it. But I implore you, please go check out his Twitter, go read everything yourself. If I don't cover something properly or for long enough, then please go check it out yourself, because we're talking about 3 months of updates that I'm going to be doing in this video, and I want it to be a short one, so I won't be fully in depth going into every single tweet. So the first thing that he said after leaving us for almost an entire year was his SoundCloud has been updated and he's added some new songs. These songs are going to be used in game. We have so many variations and different styles, and it all feels so reminiscent of Zelda, or for me actually, RuneScape. I feel these same nostalgic feelings when I hear these songs, and I associate them with Zelda and with RuneScape for whatever reason, and I think they've done an amazing job at crafting these songs. And what's really interesting is it's under his account, so I don't really know who made these songs, but I think Wally might have made them. And if he's made this music and also this amazing game, damn, he's one kind of talented guy. So let's talk about factions. It seems like we're getting some major players sort of injected into Cube World, and in fact, it seems like some kind of lore has been made and put into the game. And that, you know me, I'm excited just talking about it right now. Lore, you know, I'm all about that. So let's talk about the Steel Empire. Empress Sephira, the leader of the Steel Empire, who is said to be immortal. We're already seeing that they have some kind of mana mech suits. We're seeing that they have zeppelins and parachutes. There's some sort of, well, it's claimed as an empire. It seems like an army that's sort of very militarized. Kind of reminds me of Brotherhood of Steel from Fallout 4. So we're seeing one major faction there. And then we also have something kind of similar but not, the Archdruid Kendu, who is running and leading the Druids of Mana. So we have this like big faction known as the Druids of Mana, and they seem to be very spiritual and, you know, basically pretty chill kind of guys, right? But what's really interesting is this hints that maybe Druids might be added to the game, a new class. That's something that I would absolutely love to see, new classes in game. You know, you see the Steel Empire and it's like, those are the warriors, and then you hear the Druids of the Mana. Well, they ain't mages, are they? They're Druids. Also kind of neat to see that though we see the Steel Empire with mana mech suits, you see these massive treants that are going to be protecting the Druids. So they both have this big unit that are helping them. Next up, we have the Necromancers, known as the Unholy Pact. It's basically 3 ghost preachers, and they formed this alliance and created Necromancers, and maybe that might be another class that we can play, the Necromancer. That would be really cool. They also get their own big enemies. We have this like hulking monstrosity. I don't really know what it is, but a giant zombie. Looks like a big ogre, but you know, a zombie. And then we also have one where they're riding a mount. It's called a Skull Slater. It's a combat mount. Looks very interesting. To go with this Unholy Pact, we have the Paladins. There were 3 legendary Paladins, but only one survived something known as the Unholy War. Maybe that Unholy War was against the Necromancers, and we have like a red versus blue situation here. The Unholy Necromancers versus the Paladins. Only one Paladin does actually remain. His name is Aureus, and he is the leader of the Order of Light. But that's pretty much all we know right now. But I gotta say, he looks amazing, and also he has an angel companion. I'm sold. I want a Paladin. I'm just going to drop this here. They implemented a group of pirates. They're not actually classed as a faction yet, apparently, but they have dungeons, they have quests, they have giant ships you can see in the background, and you have to actually get on a boat and go over to get to them. I'm going to go ahead and just call pirate class. Give me a pirate class. Don't forget that there's also another faction known as the Cult of Doom, some sort of half-demon leader here, and his name is Dao. Great name, mate, great name. Hopefully his sinister plan will never come true. Looks like he might just be the leader or faction group of the rogues, but it does seem kind of more warlocky than roguey to me. But I suppose, hopefully, we'll find out one day. So we have these factions, but what do you do with them? Well, we've weaned from the many tweets from Wolfram. Basically, you have dungeons and quests with them, and you can interact with them. Here you can see a picture of Wolfram actually reactivating or activating a rune portal with the Druids of Mana, and as you can see, once it's all activated, I'm sure you're helping out the Druids, and they're very much appreciating that. So maybe you work together with a faction, and I don't know, maybe they give you some rewards for helping them and you become friends with them. And maybe, kind of like Fallout-esque, you become enemies of the opposite faction. So let's say Druids of Mana, I would say the Steel Empire is probably going to be the opposite of that. Let's say, those Necromancers, their opposite is obviously the Paladins. So let's say I become great friends with the Paladins because I want to be a Paladin. I bet the Necromancers are going to hate me, and maybe they'd be hostile towards me in the world. That's a cool theory, but we have no confirmations on that. We have been guessing at maybe some new classes being implemented, but I would like to mention there has been some changes made and tweaks to the current classes. For example, we have the Warrior here. The Cyclone ability, the AoE spin, now means you block all attacks and has a cast bar so you can see when it's going to run out. That's a good change. Very important. I remember playing my Warrior and being like, it's amazing to AoE, but I'm just going to die if I do it with too many enemies on me. That's going to be really satisfying to AoE them down. And then you have the Mage, which are now able to shoot beams with their wands. That was a really cool thing that you would see these witches, the roaming witches, be able to shoot these lasers, and it would do massive damage. It would be so deadly, and we were always jealous. Wish mages could do that. Now they can. It's time now I actually acknowledge the quest system. What he's been doing is putting quests into the game. The way you would used to level up is just by killing mobs, hunting bosses, working as a team, and just quite literally killing mobs until you level up. And that's not a fun way to grind and not a fun way to play a game. But at the end of the day, this amazing combat system in Cube World allowed us to get through that pain and still enjoy it. He wants it to be the best experience, so he's making it a living, breathing world. You saw there was a guy poisoned, we saw a warrior hanging out in an inn, we see him eavesdropping on a conversation, maybe find a location of some loot or something like that. We see a few other examples, like him speaking to a ghost, maybe you gotta avenge the ghost or help the ghost somehow, some reason, disarming a bomb. There's a lot of variety, and I've seen a lot of good things on his Twitter, so again, I implore you, go check out the Twitter, go have a look. If you're interested in the quest stuff, go check it out. But there's honestly just too much to say in one video, and I just think he's doing a great job. I'm very much looking forward to the quest system, and of course, no longer having to grind to get XP. Now, I've gone on for almost 10 minutes about the many updates, and we've not even covered half of the updates he's released and talked about, and there are many more topics I want to talk about that are very fucking interesting. So I would absolutely love, if you guys enjoyed this video, to do another one of these sometime in the future, maybe next week, on the many other updates that I've not covered in this video. If you would like to see more of this style of video on Cube World, on the updates, as he releases them fairly regularly, let me know. I'd love to do more. Final thought before we actually go. What seems to be the most interesting class to you out of the ones that we had a little theory on? We had the Necromancer, perhaps. We had Druids, things like that. What sounds the most interesting to you? I would say, like I said already, Paladin sounds awesome. Killing undead. I've always loved doing that, especially in World of Warcraft. So I'd probably really enjoy to have a class like that in Cube World. Let me know, guys. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope that you're excited about Cube World like I am, and I will see you next time.